No mosquito, huachilima, chilima. No mosquito, huachilima, chilima. No mosquito, huachilima, chilima. No mosquito, huachilima, chilima.
Yin pin penem maistok na saichom yamanim maidagwea makpapayatina. Today we'll learn how to invent concrete nouns and their adjectives using genuine Maidu parts. We've been focusing on verbs, and now we're going to shift over to nouns and adjectives. Then we'll listen to a recording of Maym Gallagher telling a second-hand story, a story where she wasn't there when it happened. We've been hearing first-hand stories so far, and now we're going to shift over to this other style of storytelling, the second-hand story. All the traditional stories, all the stories we have from Tom Young, are second-hand stories. So this is a very important genre to understand. Finally, I'm going to assign you homework to write your own second-hand story and send it to me. For modern Maidu, today we're going to review how to make concrete nouns and adjectives out of verbs. I say review because we've already been doing this for a while. You take a verb and you add an ending like ke, pe, or ma to turn it into a noun. Then if you put an M on the end, it becomes an adjective describing another word. A concrete noun is a person, some kind of creature, a place, or a thing. Generally, it's something you can see or draw a picture of. Start with a verb like batano, drive. If I add ke to the end, hesi maikade, batano ke. It means driver, someone whose job it is to drive. For the noun, it would end in M if it's the subject of the sentence, and otherwise it would not end in M. But we've also seen that driver can be an adjective, a describing word. For example, we heard Maym Gallagher talk about the Botanica Maida, the driver man. In that case, it's being used to describe what kind of man. And when it's used that way, it's an adjective. And adjectives always end in M. As you can see, nouns and adjectives can really be the same thing. It's similar to English. For example, in English, a car is a concrete noun. But if you say car door, car is an adjective telling what kind of door. So it's a noun and it's also an adjective. Now, besides having the word batanoka for a driver, we could also have the word batanope. What's the difference? Hukinuka? Batanope is somebody who's currently or temporarily driving. Batanope does not tell us their occupation is a driver the way Batanica does. Batanope is the one driving, or the one who drives, or the one who drove. Remember, it can also have a passive meaning. Who or what was driven? In that case, you will usually hear a word ending in ki nearby to tell you who is driving. Aninkakan nikiteki batanopen kaletam. That is the car which is driven by my son. Nikite is my son. Nikiteki is by my son, or belonging to my son. The thing that's really hard for us English speakers is that the k and pe and ma endings can also mean place where. Usually a good hint is that there is a d or na after the ending. Batanopedi, to where he drove, but not always. So just be aware the k, pe, and ma endings can show a person, place, or thing. You know the difference between the k and the pe endings, but what about the ma ending? Well, I'm not sure where ma fits in between k and pe. I've seen the ma ending for both permanent and temporary doers. It's a place name ending throughout the Maiduan area and sometimes may actually be the word ma, a people. Here are some examples of place or tribe names ending in ma. Molma, Auburn. Tukuma, people of Sacramento Valley. Taima, Western people or Concal people. Tankama, Nisenan. Tasma, Humbug Valley. Tolama, Paiute. Ustuma, Nevada City. Yatamotoma, Taylorsville or Genesee people. Kuluma, Susanville people. And Kuluma also is the origin of the town Coloma. Let's turn to page 99 in the Modern Mighty Workbook where it says 6G. There are tons of new words to make up. This section is specifically for people who do, doers. For example, hiss means to weave. What is a hiska? Weaver. You can be more specific, like Lolo hiska, basket weaver. What else can hiska mean? It could be some kind of tool, maybe a loom for weaving. How would you make it into an adjective? For example, how could you say weaving willow, the type of willow used in basket weaving? Hiskum chupi or hispem chupi. Just add an M to the noun and put it in front of the word you want to describe. Chupi, willow. Let's take the word tikche. Unim yawi hukinuka. Believe. Cause to believe. Hesanu dom weamaka. How would you say cause to believe? Tikcheti. Now, let's go to the sixth one down. Yawi clergyman maipe yaharam. Hesanu dom yamaka. Tikchetika. This is a person whose job it is to make people believe. What if I said, Tikchetikadi akoi pe'eh? Hesi maikade. Let's go to church. Do you see how tikchetika can also mean church? What if I said, Tikchetikumbuki? Hesi maikade. The cause to believe book, which could be a way to say Bible. From page 99 to 106, there are plenty of chances for you to make up new ku words, people or tools that have a certain job or function, or a place that's always defined by an activity. You can try your hand at adjectives too, ending in cum. I recommend you do as many as possible on your own. Let's do one more example together at the top of page 103. The first one down is duchik, to lock. Yawi padlock my peyaharam. Hasanu dom yamaka. Duchik, a locker. It's a tool meant for locking things. But what else could duchik mean? Hesi chai maikare. A person whose job it is to lock things up. Bebam hesi chai maikare. What else? Bebam hesi chai maikare. A place that is locked. Is locked is passive, and in this case there's no keyword showing who locked it. This meaning not only being a place but also passive may be hard for us to guess as English speakers. Try to remember this possibility, this passive, and this place when you're translating ke, pe, and ma words. Now, let's review the same things with the pe ending. Please turn to page 106. Hukinup, pe is more temporary than ke. Let's look at the first example from the dictionary. Anoyaha, want to go. Anoyahape means place where somebody wants to go. Hesi chai maikare anoyahape. Someone who wants to go. Hesi aite maikare anoyahapem liani. wanting to go, money, making it into an adjective, anoya hapem, maybe a deposit you put down for a trip, anoya hapem liani. Now, be careful when it comes to adjectives that end in ing in English. You will be so tempted to use dome because, as verbs and nouns in Maidu, the dome ending pretty much corresponds to English ing. When it's an adjective describing another word, though, use pam or cum or mom, not dome. Makika. Anoya hapem liani, not anoya hadom liani. Here on pages 107 to 112, you have plenty of chances to make up new nouns ending in pe. For these, I didn't break them out into person, place, or thing, but let's practice on one. Let's go to page 112, second one from the top. Yawi problem mai pe yahadom hesanudom yamaka. Yawi kupen kain kes sakala bother my pe. I just said we have a word sakala, which means bother. Yawikupem kain kes sakala, bother my pe. Problem weamadom, sakala pe, weapem kain kes. To say problem, we can say sakala pe, that which bothers. Bebam weap, sakala pe. Yawi, someone who bothers people, mai pe yahadom, hesanudom yamaka. Sakalape, maida sakalape, someone who's bothering people. You can always call somebody sakalaka if they're always bothering, if they're a pest. Now, to make an adjective bothering or bothersome, hesanudom yamaka. Sakalapem, just add m. Sakalapem maida, a bothersome person. Sahuli mosquito maikan. Sahuli means mosquito. Bebamwea, sahuli. Wea, bothered by mosquitoes, mai pe yahadom, hesanudom yamaka. Sahuliki sakalape. Bebamwea, sahuliki sakalape. How would you make an adjective bothersome mosquitoes, meaning mosquitoes that bother? Sakalapem, sahuli. Unfortunately, we don't have time in these video classes to go over all the words to make up. So please go through the rest of the chapter on your own and make sure you understand how to make up words for concrete nouns, person, creature, place, or thing, and the corresponding adjectives. Next time, we'll learn about the two main kinds of abstract nouns and how to create them. Those are nouns you can't see, idea type things. Now let's listen to a recording of Maym Gallagher telling a second-hand story she heard when she was young.
Sutini tigim klempubem inyanam bomom betei pe pinkenu kumas kas itat yahat inyanam wete pinlukan arun yahat pinkenu kumas loikinu danon samin kidi amanunin ning weißen men akum majonim yimi hadoikum weißen tetleno kumat paiden bedikim maiden madon volim akumen in goroi macham ti ibinonum meitakum gebot Kapem. Helung wasasa skadom. Seldom. Amani unim yimi hadoi kum bedikum maidum meto goja. Bahamat meto dom sinkemat meto marmakete. Dom yinno mani mum kalede kum pai di wolen klem dikum bo meto kum uidi biskit. Amani wolen we berutem madon metro yaga sunidum sketnoi pai acet num wolen klem pinmen pemiak yakachom stet num maidi pik no chenudum iska tibi machom paitalo wipem usota dek kupai mai ni mi hadoi kum mais ti usota dek wolen klembe wasa hui pai kenya kachama chet macam ka pe mat hui men nim ni nam yim hadoi kum mais dong mưa chenu dong we dong uni na mafia dong akote aje they yep to ye jam e simbete pik no mai kenik klem we dong siket dong amun ya chet macam bukan mat market nen jam dong e si pik no mai kenik we dong akakat pai onim yimi hadoi kum mais asin be muing klem be kitat num nyanam ubem be dik mai mat market men mani be heden na be mun goskit pai kloade goskit nawasi maki hulo jam adom kam ni be uset pai ni yimi haroi kum mais itines detector jam leko uset dong aitin be muki body dik nudam tekan meninya nama mo gue chat wasam wolem klem apa es we utua chat pik nu butui ta popem klem kakư kana dong nuk bus dong we ya was mem sadi tis wono do es be hapnik mekanim ka abu adom be tat tetik no leko men najis be ni kaimun ya.
Now let's go over it line by line. First sentence.
Sutini tigim klampu bem inyanam bom betei pe pinkenu kumas
Betepe hesi maikare. The ones who were telling stories. Beba moyep mum inyanan bomom betepe. The Indians who were telling stories. What if she had said beteke instead of betepe? That would have meant storyteller as a profession. She's talking about a group of Indians telling stories at that time, not professional storytellers. Once, when I was a little girl, I listened to the Indians who were telling stories. Next sentence.
Because itat yahat inyanam wete pinlutkan.
Pinlutkum, always listening to the max, lute to the max. She uses the k ending to mean she's constantly doing it. Listening to the Indians who were talking. Weepe. Next sentence.
Aron yapingin kumas loiking danon samingidi.
Doing that, I listened well, sitting at the fireside. Next sentence.
Amanunin waisim and akum majonim yimi hadoikum waisim tetleno kumat paim bedikim maidin madam.
Waisim means old man. Waisim menwet without being an old man. The menwet endings means without being or without doing. Here she's going back in time saying when he was telling the story he was a waisim, but it is said akum that when he was not an old man, waisim menwet, tetet welenokum. Hesi maikade. Very much a runner. She uses welenokum, the cum ending instead of pem. So that was his profession, more or less. He was a good runner or a fast runner, a track star. Bebam wea, tetet welenokum. Waisim menwet, without being an old man. Waisim menwet machoyam, when he apparently was not an old man. Let's practice with a couple of menwet words from the old Tom Young stories. Wewe menwet, without saying anything. Bebam weep, wewe menwet. Hal menwet, without lying, without telling a lie. Bebam weep, hal menwet. Now back to our story. Ma pa'aya, apparently being. Pa'aya is the speculative way of saying dome. Hukinuka. Unim waisim, waisim menwet, akum, machoyam yimi hadoikum waisim, tetet welenokum mapaya. Akum, it was said, akum tetet welenokum mapaya. It was said that he was a fast runner. I mentioned indirect quotes a few lessons ago. Hukinuka, that we used akan, he said that, with a dome word to show what he said. This is the same thing except speculative, and the speculative version of the dome ending is pa'aya. Unim waisim, waisim menwet, akum machoyam tetet welenokum mapa'aya. This old man, when he was not an old man, it is said that he was apparently a fast runner. She adds in his name, which is pretty long. Yimi hadoikum waisim, old man who always carries arm, presumably his own arm. Bedakum maidam madom, hesi maikade. When he was a young man. This is a dependent clause, same subject with dom. When he was a young man. We know it's he because it goes with the main verb, talking about yimi hadoikum waisim. Bebam weip, bedakum maidam madom. Amuni, unim waisim, waisim menwet, akum machoyam yimi hadoikum waisim, tetet welenokum mapaya, mum bedakum maidam madom. Then this old man, when he was apparently not an old man, it is said that arm-carrying old man apparently was a track star when he was a young man. Yes, this is a hard sentence. How would you say, my mother, when she was a young woman, was apparently a dancer? Nickname bedakum kalem madom machoyam wetemkum. How would you say, it is said that my mother, when she was apparently not old, use neno for old, was apparently a dancer when she was a young woman. Nickname, neno menwet, machoyam, akum wetenkum mapaaye, bedakum kalem madom. Next sentence.
Volem akumen in goroi macam. Ti ibin onam meitakum kubot kapem. Helum wasasa skadom. Seldom.
Helum wasasa. Hesi maikare. A few things. Helu means a few. Helumenem wasasa. Hesi maikare. Not a few. That is many, many things. Helumenem. Bebam web. Helum wasasa. Bebam web. Helumenem wasasa. Whites at that time in this country apparently had a bunch of little stores selling a few things. Next sentence.
Amani unim yimi haroikum bedikum maidum meito goicha. Bahamak meito dom sinkumak meito marmakite.
Hesi maikade unim yimi haroikum bedikum maidum meito koi chayam. This arm-carrying young man apparently went off shopping. Metokoi choyam. Went off or was going off shopping. Bebam wet. Metokoi choyam. Sinka, baking powder. Sin means mix. Sinka, baking powder, the thing you mix. Hesi maikare. Ba maat. Sinka maat. Me tomarom aikade. Maybe going to buy salt or maybe going to buy baking powder, I figure. Notice how you repeat ma'at after each item to mean or. Ba ma'at me tomarom, sinka ma'at me tomarom. You could translate me tomarom to mean intending to buy or in order to buy. Next sentence. Hesi maikade yunochoyam. He apparently went down in. Remember, with two N's shows you're going down into a building. He apparently entered the store. Next sentence.
Mani mum kaledikum mapai di mawolen klem dikum ngubor netukum uidi biskito.
Amani. Now the subject's going to change. Mun kaledikum makupaye uidi. Hesi maikade. Hukinuka. Maku means turn out to be. Makupaye. Apparently turning out to be a woman alone in the building. Mum wolan kalem de kum hubo, me de kum uidi, biskachoyam. Hesi maikade. The white woman only was in the store at that time. Bebam wea, mum wolan kalem de kum, me de kum uidi, biskachoyam. Apparently, it turned out to be a woman alone in the building. A white woman was apparently in the store alone at that time. Next sentence.
Amani wolen we burukem madon meto yaga sunirum sketnoi pai.
Amani. Now the subject's going to change from the Wollen Kalem to the other person, which is Yimi Hadoi Kambeda Kamaidam. Notice she doesn't say who the subject is. You know who it is based on the amani. Makeka he e. Hesi maikare mum infix boduk hukinuka. Not very much. Wolani we boduk dom. Hesi maikare. Not speaking very much English. Bebam wea. Wolani wea boduk dom. Now comes a direct quote. What does he say? Me toyahakas uni. Hesi maikare. I want to buy this. And what is he doing as he says that? Saket noye pa'aye. Saket means point with the finger. Bebam weye saket. Saket noye means point around at things. Bebam weye saket noyedom. Pointing around at things. Now, using the speculative ending pa'aye instead of dom, bebam weye saket noye pa'aye. Apparently pointing around. Then, not speaking much English, saying, I want to buy this, while apparently pointing around. Next sentence.
Ajat mum wolem klem pinmen pem yakachom tet mum maide pik no chenudom iska tibi machom paitalo wipem pe usota dek makupai mai Yimi hadoi kum wais. Tibi usota be.
A chat. Now the subject's going to change back to the other person. Mung Wollen Kalem. A chat mum Wollen Kalem pinmin pem yakachoyam. Hesi maikade. Meanwhile, the white woman apparently seemed not to hear. Tetet mum maida pikno chenudo machoyam. Hesi maikade. And she was apparently just staring so hard at the man. Paitolowiapem, hesi maikade. The one that had no pants. That would seem to show he was the subject of the sentence with that M on the end. But then Maym Gallagher seems to correct herself and says pa after she says Pam. Listen to that again.
Paitalo wipem pe
Wosota dukpe, only a loincloth. Wosota is the piece of cloth worn in the front, covering the genitals for either a man or a woman. Woso is genitals, ta is on. Makupaye. This is what I'm hearing anyway. Apparently it turned out to be. What was she staring at? Mamaida unim yimi hadoikam waisi tibim wosotabe. I'm not hearing an M on the end of any of these, although Shipley does write an M on the end of Maida and Weissy, as if he was the subject. To me, these are the things she's staring at. The man, arm carrier, old man, and the little loincloth. Wosotabe. The be at the end means small. Wosotabe. Bebam web. Tibim wosotabe. She was apparently staring at the one with no pants, apparently turning out to be only a loincloth. The man, arm carrier, old man, and his little loincloth. Next sentence.
Wollen Klembe Wasa Hui Pai Kanyaka Chama.
Adom, same subject as the last sentence. Wolon kalembe wasa huwe paikan. Hasi maikare. Wasa huedon, thinking evil or thinking bad thoughts. The paikan ending is like the choyam ending, but it's even more speculative. Why is it even more speculative? Because of the yaka choyam. She apparently seemed to be. Seeming is already speculative and ends in choyam. So what she seems to be doing is even more speculative. Wasa hueye pa'aikan. Of course, we don't know. Nobody knows what somebody's thinking, so that's very speculative. Wasa hueye pa'aikan yaka choyam. And the white woman was now apparently thinking bad thoughts. It apparently seemed. Next sentence.
Macam Kape Mat Hui Mendong Nim Yim Haroikum Waisim.
Achet. This changes the subject from Maym Gallagher to Unim Yimi Haroikum Waisim. Machoyam Kaape Maat. Huye mendom. Hesi maikare. He apparently was not thinking. Machoyam huye mendom. Ka'ape ma'at. Anything like that. Remember, ka'a is like that. Ka'ape ma'at. Anything like that. Beba moya. Ka'ape ma'at. Meanwhile, he apparently was not even thinking anything like that, this Indian arm carrier old man. Next sentence.
Dong Chenu Dong Way Dong Unina Mapia Dong Ikotea.
I think maybe Shipley cut something out of the recording before this sentence because now the subject is Wolon Kalem without any word like a muni or a chet to show the change of subject. And it's only a part of a sentence. Staring at him, speaking, come here, saying. Unina mapi, come here. This actually means be over here. Way away, unina mapi. And staring at him, saying, come over here, I guess. Next sentence.
Yep, we John. He seemed to pick no my connecting clem way don't sicket them.
Yeheptoye, feel disturbed, powerless, scared, and made me nervous. We already have a word with set, meaning scared, but this yeheptoye is a little bit different. Achet be. Meanwhile now, achet shows the subject is changing. Who's the subject of yeheptoye choyam? Mum inyanam, imi hadoikam waisim. Yeheptoye, feel disturbed or nervous. Yeheptoyepem, the one who felt disturbed or nervous. Mum yimi hadoikam maidam. Yeheptoye choyam, he was apparently nervous, feeling disturbed. Then there's a direct quote, which in this case is what he's thinking. Hesimbete, what kind of story, or what in the heck? Beba moyep, hesimbete. Hesimbete pikno, exactly, or just. Just what kind of story? My weokan. You know that my means mean, as in hesi maikare. What does it mean? But my can also mean say something emphatically, try to get something across, or express emotionally. My weukan. Here, Maym Gallagher uses the weu infix to mean all this time. You can spell it W-E-W or W-E-U is probably even better. For example, hesasaka means how are you? But hesasa weuka means How have you been all this time? Bebam wea, hesasu weuka. Adombe hesi maikare, hesimbete pigno my weukan nick munkalem. What kind of story is this woman trying to get across to me all this time? Weyewe, hesimbete pigno my weukan nick munkalem. Siketdom. We just ran across this word when Yemi Hadoika Maitam was pointing around at things in the store to show what he wanted to buy. Siketnoya, pointing around. The woman was gesturing with her finger, Siketdom, to come here. Oftentimes you'll see words starting with s refer to a finger or pointing somehow. And the word suti in Mountain Maidu means one. That's like holding your finger up for the number one. And of course, that's not the way you say one in Konkau or Nisenan. So, what is Yehepto Yapem thinking? Hesimbete pigno my weukan nikmun kalem weadom saketdom. What story exactly is this woman trying to get across to me all this time, speaking and motioning with her finger? Next sentence. Now this is funny, but not actually unusual. Amuni a chat at the beginning of a sentence. Amuni changes the subject from Yemi Hadoika Maida to Mun Kalem. But then a chat immediately changes the subject back to Yimi Hadoika. If this were a movie, the camera would probably switch over to the woman, still motioning for him to come here, and then the camera would switch back to Mumbedika Maida, looking baffled and nervous. Hakoinamat makitmen choyam. Even still, Hakoinamat makitmen choyam. He apparently didn't understand. Then, meanwhile, he apparently was. Even still, he apparently did not understand. Next sentence. This time, Maym Gallagher uses my weu with a different ending, yakin. This is new grammar I haven't taught you yet. Yakin by itself is sometimes used to say, I don't know, in answer to a yes or no question. But the real meaning is it might be or it must be. For example, Maki nawasim laklak pem makade. Is her skirt red? That's the kind of question that's expecting either a yes or no answer. But you could answer yakin. Yakin could be interpreted as I don't know, or it might be, with the yakin ending for third person. Hesi pikno my weu yakin nikweadom means she must be trying to get something across to me by talking. The yakin ending is not a question, but the idea that you're pretty sure that's what somebody's doing. They must be. In Lesson 12 in the grammar book, you can see the yakin verb endings for each person. Yakas, I must be. Yakino, you must be. Yakin for third person, he, she, it, or they. Yakeas, which is we too must. And Yakees for we all must be. Let's look at some examples from the old Tom Young stories. I must have killed them all. Apekambe wonotibos yakas. That yakas ending means I must have. You must be singing to my walk. Niki uno soldom mayakino. Mayakino means you must be doing. Notice how that combines with soldom to mean you must be singing. Coyote said it. Niki uno soldom mayakano. Unin kodoidi saku pemaidam bisyaken. Hesi maikare. People who have fire must live in this country. They must live. Bisyaken. Now, back to our story. Yimi hadoikam maidam is thinking. Hesi pikno my weuyaken, nik weedom. She must be trying to get something across to me by talking. Aikakat pa'aye. Aikakat is closely related to aikate, I guess, or I figure. Aikate doesn't really mean I guess, since the ending's not one of the I endings. In fact, aikate is not a verb, but an adverb, meaning something like presumably. We just tend to translate it as I guess because it sounds more natural. Aikakat is the related verb meaning to figure or think or guess. So if I ask you, hesi aikakaka, hesi maikade, what do you think? Asking your opinion. Bebam weep, hesi aikakaka. After telling what he was thinking, Maym Gallagher says, Aikakat pa'aye unim yami hadoikam waisim. Apparently thinking, this arm carrier old man. Let's listen to the sentence again.
Hesipik na may kaniking way doon. Aikakat pa'aye unim yami hadoikam waisim.
She must be trying to get something across to me by talking. Apparently, this arm carrier old man was thinking. Next sentence.
I think Maym Gallagher that nyanam ubem basic in my market many bay hidden na bay kosket by Chloe kosket nawasi maki hulo jam
Awetin be Maym Gallagher hedena be. Then, as soon as that mentioned woman was close, tetet mum inyanam pubem bedekam maidamat makitmen money be. When that Indian boy, young man even, then didn't understand, mum yokoskit pa'aye makipolowadi. Apparently, lying down on her floor, yokoskit pa'aye, apparently lying down. Yokoswetin nawasi maki huldoi choyam. After she laid down, apparently she hoisted up her skirt. Yokoswetin. When she lay down, polowadi on the floor, from English floor, polowadi. Huldoi, pull up, like pulling up a blanket or something. Nawasi muki huldoi choyam. Apparently, she pulled up her skirt. Then, as soon as that mentioned woman was close, when that Indian boy, young man even, then didn't understand, apparently, lying down on her floor after she lay down, apparently she hoisted up her skirt. Next sentence.
Adom kamani be uset pai ni yimi hadoikam waisim. It means the texture jang waleko uset dom.
Adom ka'amani be. And as soon as she did that, then the subject's going to change from Molan Kalem back to Yimi Hadoikam Maida because of the muni on Ka'amani. We set pa'aye, apparently being afraid. Betek doi choyam. Betek means jump or spring into action. The idea is sudden but fast movement. He apparently bolted. Alek koidon. Alek means go fast. Alek koi, leave fast. We set dom because he was scared. He apparently bolted and got out of there fast since he was afraid. Bebam weip, betek doi choyam. Alek koidon. We set dom. Next sentence.
Aitin bei muki body dik nudam tekan meminya nama mo gue chat wasam wolem klem apai.
A wetin be maki habodi adiknodom, a pekanim inyanam bo mo, wea choyam, hesi maikade. Then when he got to his house, he said to all the Indians, Bebam wea, a pekanim inyanam bo mo, wea choyam. He said to all the Indians. Now, what he said is an indirect quote, not exactly what he said, not in quotes, but paraphrasing. Tet wasam wolankalem mapa'aye, a very bad white woman, apparently being. Remember that in Maidu, an indirect quote usually has a dom verb that could be translated with that. If this indirect quote was not speculative, you could say, Akan tet wasam wolan kalem ma dom. He said that there was a very bad white woman. Since this is speculative, though, she uses ma pa'aya instead of ma dom. Bebam weep, wea choyam, tet wasam wolan kalem ma pa'aya. Then when he got to his house, he apparently said to all the Indians that there was apparently a very bad white woman. Next sentence.
Es we utua. Tepik nu butui tapopem klem kakugana.
Es we, boy, butuam. She was hairy. Usually we would say butuam with an M on the end. She was hairy. But we know that M gets left off sometimes by speakers, and I think Maym Gallagher just said butua. Tetet pik no, butui tapopem ka kukan. Hesi maikade. Hukinuka butui tapopem, covered with hair. Boy, was she hairy, he apparently said. She was so covered with hair. Next sentence.
Dom nuk busto dom wea was mem sadi tis wono do. Es be hap nik mekanim ka abu adom be. Tat tetik no veleko men najis. Be ni kaimun ye.
Nuk bustodom, laughing hard about it. Wea usan mum sadi tus wono yedom. Hesi maikade. He used to say while standing around the fire, Be hap nik makanim ka'aba. If only the same thing might happen to me now. Remember that b ending in case or might? Hap means if only. Bebam weip, be hap nik makanim ka'aba. If only the same thing might happen to me now. Welekoi, hukinuka, run away. Welekoi men, not run away. Welekoi men nachas. What is that nachas ending doing there? There's a set of endings with nache that turn the verb into would do. Would do. This is new grammar I haven't taught you yet, and it's explained in lesson 12 of the grammar book. The nache endings are not super common because they're used to talk about what would happen in a hypothetical situation. If such and such a thing happens, which we don't even know could happen, but if it did, here's what would happen as a result. So, Welokoi naches means I would not run away. Would. The hypothetical situation is usually a verb ending in dom for the same subject or mani for different subjects. Hesi aikakaka. What do you think is the hypothetical situation in this sentence? Ka'amani. Benik. Ka'amani. If she did that to me again now. Or it could mean if the same thing happened to me now. Welekoi men naches. I would not run away. Do you see how there's a theoretical situation, that happening to him again, and then a verb ending in nache telling what the result would be, him not running away? Let's practice this new grammar a little. The ending for third person, he, she, it, or they, is nachen. The ending for I is naches, as we just saw. Welekoi men naches. Here's another one. Coyote speaking from the Tom Young stories with two different subjects using mani. Ni aisei makit ismani pim koraidi nikoloknonom akau chenachen. Hesi maikade aikakaka. If I perhaps learn how to do it, makit ismani, women in many lands would admire me. Nik akau chenachen. They would admire me. They would look at me with wonder. Me makit ismani. If I learn how to do it, it's hypothetical. We don't even know if he will be able to. And in fact, he's talking about learning to fly like a hummingbird. So it's pretty unlikely. Now, let's look at one with the same subjects in both clauses, again from the Tom Young stories. I say sa pedarom lupdom kumen bisnachehas. Peda means steal. Sa pedarom means stealing fire. Lup means be warm. Hesi maikade, I say sa pedarom lupdom kumen bis nachehas. Perhaps by stealing fire and staying warm, we too could stay the winter. Notice the nachehas ending on bis, stay. We too could stay. The dome endings show that stealing and staying warm have the same subject as bis nachehas. We too. Makika. Back to our story. Babam wayap. Welekoi men naches. Beidnika amani. If that same thing would happen to me now, ka'at tek pikno, exactly like that. Babam waya. Ka'at tek pikno welekoi men naches. I would not run away just like that, maybe not as fast or very far, if that happened to me again. And laughing hard, he used to talk while standing around the fire. Man, if only that might happen to me now, saying then. I would not run away exactly like that now, if she did that to me now, he said, or if that happened to me now. Notice how Maym Gallagher says for he said. Yes, she's probably dropping that M off, so it just sounds like ah. You can barely hear this. But why doesn't she say a choya or a choyam? Because this is the part of the story she heard firsthand. She heard what he said, so she doesn't have to say apparently. I love this story. It shows another aspect of Maym Gallagher's storytelling skills. Not only can she tell a story that's exciting or nostalgic, but she's also very good at telling a funny story. Think about some of the ways she words things that make it so funny. Now, I would like you to try to write a story like this, a story that happened to somebody else and you were not there to witness it. You have a choice what kind of story to write. It doesn't have to be funny. It could be a short newspaper article about something that happened. It could be something that happened to your friend or a family member that they told you about. It could be a historical event. The main thing is you were not there to witness it. So, of course, you're going to be using a lot of choyam endings. So today we reviewed how to make concrete nouns and adjectives from verbs by adding the k, pe, and ma endings. Then we listened to a recording of Maym Gallagher telling a second-hand story. And while we listened to that story, we picked up some new grammar. We learned about the yaka and nacha verb endings. I look forward to reading your stories that you write. Chime in, chamakas min, yahat bispada.